And
we're live?
We're live.
All right.
Finally.
Welcome back to the latest episode of The Rec Room. Good to see you too, bud.
Long time no see.
It has. It's been a bit of a break, but, the world's kind of going to shit right now. Not since the passing of Freddie Mercury have I missed the Queen so much. But
apparently Trudeau did, though.
Well, okay, yeah. I saw a tiny. Let's dive right into this. Basically, we're talking about the madness going on in the world right there, and it's varied and very
just
sporadic.
So you guys know, this is also episode 19.
19,
and
technically legal in Saskatchewan now.
A lot has happened since we've been here last.
Yes,
and. We have a guest who's going to be late. He's a surprise guest.
A mystery guest. Josh is not telling me anything.
I have a surprise guest lined up for you.
Okay, perfect.
This will probably be right up his alley. This current offense.
Current offense. Yeah, let's take that back.
We might as well.
Current offense.
We roll off it so hard.
All right, it's a current offense episode, ladies and gentlemen.
And if you do get offended by this, you can leave your comment below.
Yeah, basically our content is a lot like gluten. If you're an oversensitive pussy, you're not going to like it. But anyway, okay, so the Queen, she passed away. Now,
yes.
as a lifelong citizen of Canada, and, she's been on our money forever, I couldn't give a fuck. And I don't mean to insult anybody out there. I just have no use for the monarchy. I couldn't care less. I never met the lady, never went to see her wave at me. I get that a lot of people loved her, and I will say she was a classy queen. She didn't have a lot of, her children seem fucking nuts, but at least she never seemed super crazy.
When I was younger, I didn't understand.
The monarchy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as a lot of us didn't.
Well,
and now,
I guess I didn't really understand what it was about.
And now that she has passed, it almost seems like everybody's demonizing the royal family to a point where is it actually being demonized, or is things actually being come to light?
Well, I think that it's, I guess you could say it's a bit of both, but I would say it's more coming to light because, like I said, the Queen, as far as like I said, I don't care about the monarchy or the royal family. I don't see the use for them, especially in today's society. But I will say she was the most respectable of the entire family. Like I said, I never heard anything that she did that was scandalous or terrible.
Yeah.
She seemed like she did a good job for what she was doing, right? She was the Queen.
Well,
her kids, you have Charles with the whole Diana thing, which, that was scandalous, but it wasn't it was more, what's his head? Prince Andrew. I think I talked about this to you guys a long time back.
He left the royal family, right?
Well, he's still part of it, but...
he was there at the funeral, but that's his grandmother.
Well, yeah. No, that's his mother.
Queen Elizabeth is his mother?
I'm pretty sure. You might want to Google that, but I'm pretty sure Charles and Andrew are her kids.
Okay.
It's William and Harry that's quite the grandkids.
Or am I just old now?
I think we're all old now, Josh.
Shit.
Okay, but anyway, so Prince Andrew, when that whole Epstein shit happened, he was really close with Epstein, and he did an interview trying to on BBC News.
I heard about this.
Oh, it was the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
After the passing.
It was just so terrible. I watched the whole interview, and the man is, I think partially because he's a royal and he hasn't had to really, needed to justify, I'm a royal, what are you going to do to me kind of thing. He was making claims that there's a picture of him and the girl that's accusing him of having sex with her when she was underage. She was given to him through Epstein, and he's like, that photo must not be real because I would never wear shorts and a t-shirt while in America. That's his reasoning behind it. And she explained when they had sex, how his penis looked, that he was very sweaty. It's well, that proves it right there. I couldn't be me because I actually couldn't sweat after I went to Afghanistan. I had an adrenaline thing.
Do ginger penises stand out more than the rest?
I don't know. I really haven't done the research.
Well, but, if you guys are listening and you are a ginger, you can send it to Sunshine and he'll be able to tell you.
Yeah, just throw it in that inbox. But yeah, you really have to watch it to see how fucking cringeworthy it is. And you can just tell, I'm sure when you grow up in that amount of opulence, you can do whatever you like,
Yeah.
But it was, I think, Epstein's whole thing, the reason, we talked about it before, they covered up a lot of that shit. Like when Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever fucking had her trial, you didn't hear about it. Nobody fucking
It all
gave
got
a shit. It
swept
was
under
all
the rug.
what was all behind closed
The
doors and in
same
secret
as-
because she was naming big names. I guarantee.
It's the same as anything that happened within the monarchy.
Oh, exactly.
Back in the day, there's so much scandalous things that happened over the years. And
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, I think a lot of people in the world are really just seeing like, what do they bring to the table anymore?
Well, that's always kind of been my opinion of them. Like, I've heard that yes, that like people in tourism and stuff like that to England, it's a big part of that. They bring in a lot of money that way. Their events and things, right? But I mean,
Who's in now? Charles?
Prince Charles is the king.
Okay.
But I mean, when the funeral happened, I heard that the biggest diamond in existence was on the Queen's coffin. I mean, I get that she was the queen. I get she was an important lady. But talk about the amount of opulence when you have the biggest diamond in the world lodged into your coffin to be buried in the ground.
And
Like,
isn't
Does that seem like a huge waste of money
and
to
I was
anybody
heard
else?
there's controversy over that diamond too. That
Oh, I'm sure
the
it was probably a
diamond
blood
was
diamond of some kind.
given to her to have in safekeeping
Mm-hmm.
and not actually hers. But if
Couldn't tell you, man.
apparently now it's hers.
But that's kind of my whole point about the monarchy. Like, I get that they probably do make a lot of money for people, but the amount of money that they spend on shit like that, it just does not make sense to me. Why anybody would support them?
My big tiff with the whole monarchy thing is the people, more so indigenous people related. So when let's face it, they were here first. This
Yes.
is their land.
Yeah.
This is their home. We just came here with whoever ancestors years ago came here and procreation happened. Now we're here. What happened a few years ago? I think Trudeau went to go meet the Queen, and the Queen said something like, "So how are my Indians?" to Trudeau.
Okay.
And how does she have any? It's hard for me to fathom how she could even say that they are her Indians.
I mean,
Or
like I said, I
any
never.
group of people for that matter. Like,
Well, I think they think differently because, they've grown up believing God chose us to be the rulers of, the largest empire the world has ever known. I mean, I don't know if I've never heard about that, but I do know that the whole, the Meghan Markle thing, or Markle or whatever the hell her name is.
yeah, but then when it comes to the residential schools and unmarked graves and everything like that, there was no explanation for it. It was just like, yeah, we're sorry.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are okay.
Well, but that's how bulletproof they are, right? And I know that when, like I said, that Meghan Markle thing happened, there was a lot of. It was never outright expressed that there was racism because she's, I believe, half black or something like that.
Is she?
I think so. I think her dad's black and her mom's white or something. Anyway, but when she came in, they alluded to, I can't remember, I think it was Charles or Andrew or something. They were like, well, what are the babies going to be? Da-da-da-da-da. And I like I said, I don't know. I'm not in it. It could have been tabloid bullshit, but it does sound like something those people would kind of be concerned about. It's the first person of color to ever enter into the family, even if it's through marriage and stuff.
Didn't they inbreed as well to keep the blood to keep the blood loyal?
Well, any kind of
blood
monarchy
loyal or
has
whatever?
a ton of that, like second cousins and shit, and
That's so
people with the
fucked up.
proper titles have to marry, right?
I don't understand it. I don't understand why. To me, like, to be quite frank, I could care less about the monarchy myself.
Yeah, I can give a shit.
It's basically them. I don't know. Years. How many years have they monarchy been in?
Oh God,
since
hundreds
of years.
Hundreds of years, yeah.
And
hundreds and hundreds. I would almost say even maybe it could be thousands. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe that's a Google thing we should fucking look up. But they've been around for longer than I can fucking count right now.
Things change over years. And you have to live with change. They do not want to change any of their statuses. They don't want. It's power.
Yes.
Right? Everything's power. Look at the whole world today. Everything is all just fucking. Everybody's trying to swing around the biggest dick and see who can. Like, you got the whole Putin's trying to lay claim now saying now that the parts that he took over from Ukraine are now part of Russia.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And
yeah, whatever happened with that, by the way, like it was all in the news. Everybody was, we support Ukraine, and I haven't heard shit about it. I'm pretty sure it's still going on, is it not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and he's doing...
just shows how the news cycle gives a fuck. They're like, oh, it's a hot topic right now.
Oh,
Let's make a Facebook fucking filter.
Yeah.
And then everybody puts it on, and they're like, oh, is that still going on?
Yeah.
I'm it's not trending anymore, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah, let's put it on all the headlines so the algorithm finds it and sends it to everybody's fucking faces. But the whole fucking... now he is fully arming. Putin. He's got a... what do you call that when you get called?
Army?
When you...
Mobilization?
No, when you get draft, he's got a draft going now in Russia. So if you're like, he's doing a full mobilization.
He's gearing up, eh?
And now there's talk of UK having a draft and other places having a draft where pretty much there's the whole thing throwing around the whole world that this is just the start of World War III.
Yeah.
Like Putin is on the news and just completely throwing out like, I'll nuke you guys if you try and stop me.
Yeah. Well,
and then,
I mean, he's always kind of been very like aggressive and power hungry, but he's played it right in that he hasn't kind of overextended until now. And I also know that people, they love to throw around World War III. World War III, it's the next World War III. I mean, they've been saying that since I was a kid. It's never been closer, though. I will say that. Like, we're talking about how crazy the world's getting nowadays. Like, that is... I was really surprised when, all that shit was happening in America. Like, it was getting really close to a civil war again.
Yep.
And it's still very much, a simmering pot. But that Chaz thing... That was something. See, that's what I mean. I can't remember.
Tell me about this Chaz.
There was one city. I think it's San Diego or something like that. Antifa or whoever took over something like 30 blocks downtown of a major city.
Really?
And fucking, they had it like controlled, guns. The cops surrounded them, and you didn't hear about it in the news because they were trying to keep it as quiet as they could.
When was this?
It was back when Trump was president.
Okay.
And you would just think. Like, it's literally, I guess you'd have to call it like a terrorist occupation of a city for a little bit. I'm pretty sure it got handled, and it's not like massive deaths. Like, they just, they went in and they arrested these people after a while. But they had control of this, like I said, it was, I think, 30 square blocks. San Diego or something like that.
This is a new one for me.
And that's what I mean. Like, and nobody's pretty much heard about it.
How did you hear about this?
It was on the news.
Oh.
It's just, but I think, like I said, like nowadays, when big powerful people, say like Putin or Trump or the royal family or whoever, they have a story in the news that they don't like, what they try and do, same thing with like the Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell there, they try and push forward another story, something even more scandalous, right?
Something that's going to drop the bomb
fucking Kaepernick taking a knee or something like that, like something that just pisses people off.
I think COVID is
exactly
all-time winner of that one.
COVID was the one they released right after the Epstein thing.
Well,
and
yeah.
I guarantee you the royal family with Prince Andrew there probably weren't too sad to hear that. Oh, and they were probably like, well, we need to keep people safe and this and that.
Oh, they were probably wiping the fucking sweat off their brows after that.
Well, that's what I mean. And that's kind of how it goes nowadays. Anybody powerful enough, I mean, they can even pay people to just click on, fucking links to make them fucking rise up the chain of trending or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
They manipulate the algorithm, all that shit.
Yeah, so, Putin is trying to say that he's going to also take over parts of Canada around the Arctic Circle.
Well,
and saying that that's going to be his that's going to be all part of Russia. And he wants to take over. He wants basically what it was back in the day when they had the Soviet Union, and so that has to do with like Poland. I think is part of where Soviet Union used to be.
Poland, the Czech Republic. I couldn't tell you all of it.
He basically wants all of that back.
I could see that. The thing about him attacking Canada that I don't think would work for him. Not that Canada is some kind of like military might. I don't think we could really beat the Russian army. But
I think we pack a harder punch than the rest of the world thinks.
Well, I would say that. But I think it's more, if they attack us, we're quite beloved and a very kind of like a first world country kind of thing. Yeah. We have all the means to kind of call in help especially with our neighbors to the south there. I mean, we may not be the best of friends, but I think they would help us, especially if it means fucking Russia. They would be all over that like a fucking dog on a T-bone.
What do you think is like 500 miles away?
Well, exactly. Alaska's right up there, right? So exactly. So they have a reason to do it. So I think attacking Canada might be, like, I'm not saying the people of the Ukraine aren't beloved, but it's kind of, it's a smaller country. It's got a lot less means and things like that. I think attacking Canada would be a bad idea for him. I think that would get him a lot.
The bigger thing that would suck, though, is he is arming. He basically just said his nukes are ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wouldn't doubt that.
Now, if he launches one to the States, well, guess what the first direct way there is?
Yeah.
Right over top of our heads. Mm-hmm. So the U.S. is probably going to intercept that.
Oh, yeah.
Or try to.
Well, of course they would.
So it's going to get blown up in the air, and guess where all the fallout goes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll just have to deal with that when it comes. As far as the nuke thing goes, I just don't see that happening. I think it's more of a grandstanding thing. Because I do know they have them.
It is all over social media.
Yeah. Well, but see, that's what I think. It's more of a grandstanding thing. Like, we all know U.S. has nukes. Russia has nukes. I'm pretty sure North Korea has nukes. Like, fucking all the big.
I get a kick out of North Korea.
North Korea.
I got like a kick out of them. Yeah.
They're like, we'll fucking use them.
We have a tank.
Yeah. It's a big tank.
I get a kick out of them because they've been completely quiet this whole time through this whole thing.
They're biding their time, man. They're smart.
Then North Korea is just like, hey, you guys, we're tough too.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah.
And then I think they launched a missile into Japan waters or something like that.
Something like that. Recently. Yeah, they were testing and they pissed off Japan because they're like, fuck you.
The big thing too is now China is going after Taiwan and saying we want Taiwan back.
Yeah.
And the U.S. has said, basically, if you go up to Taiwan, we're going to defend Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And then the Chinese prime minister is just like, that's going to end up bad for you if you defend Taiwan.
Yeah, well, China, they're like a sleeping giant, man. I don't think you want to fuck with China too much.
China's prime minister, I can't remember his name, something Chin.
Couldn't tell you.
He's on house arrest right now.
For?
That I don't know.
He's on house arrest?
I read on lots of headlines and articles that he's on house arrest.
Really? I did not know that.
And
that's an interesting.
I'm wondering if there was like some people involved around him are just saying, okay, you're being ridiculous. Like,
could be. Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
I don't know. China's been a really strict.
Oh, China's super strict. China is super strict. But like with the jockeying of power right now, like, it used to be America was the seat of power, right? They had the biggest army, they had the most guns, I don't think that's 100% true nowadays, just because.
You don't think so?
Well, I know they have a lot of guns. I know they're not to be fucked with. I'm not saying that U.S. isn't strong. It's just I know that China went a much sneakier way. They did the economy thing. Everybody owes them money. Everything's made in China. So even if they don't have they've got a lot of people. You know that. They could make a very big army.
There's a lot of sanctions on China right now, too.
This is true. But why do you think that is? Because they're becoming so powerful. And they have been for many years. Do you think it would
be so bad if a lot of things we had weren't made in China anymore?
I don't think it would end the world. I think the reason that's driven is because China has much more lenient child labor laws and things like that. I mean, we could just say sweatshops.
Slavery.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the driving force. I mean, do you remember when Trump was running for president and he was saying China's the biggest enemy in the world? And I remember he was on David Letterman hawking this line of ties he had coming out at Target or whatever. And Dave was just like, well, where's this tie made? And he goes, oh, look, made in China. Like the guy who is, running on a platform that we need to stop, helping China is a big enemy, is making his fucking line of ties in China. Why? Because it's cheaper that way. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. He has to pay a fucking guy in America $20 an hour to do that. It's cutting into the profit margin. So it doesn't matter that, I'm all about America. Let's make America great again. Well, that stops at the fucking line of, oh, it's going to cost me money? Okay, well, then I'll just go to China.
But do you think that will push China ahead of a military superpower than...
Well, I think just the fact that in the technological side of things nowadays, the money China has a fucking ton of money. Like, they are liquid, man. Whereas America owes a lot of people debts, things like that. And I mean, most countries do. Like, pretty much every country owes more money than they're owed. But
which bank does most of the world? Is it the Rockefellers own that bank or whatever? Is that the whole? Because
I think so. I couldn't get. I know there's a bunch of like high level banks and stuff.
Yeah,
HSBC. You want to talk about some fucking criminal people? HSBC.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. They do all the banking for like the Taliban and like.
Really?
Oh. I watched a documentary. It was called Dirty Money.
I didn't know they were that bad. I watched that documentary, man. Yeah.
Did you watch? Okay, well, the HSBC part, they basically showed they were doing, like, banking for the Taliban, Hezbollah, like, fucking every terrible, like, KKK, different terrible organizations. It was found out by, a temp guy who... was working at a HSBC doing some filing, and he figured out their system, which was very basic. They were,
yes.
Instead of saying Hezbollah, it would be H/Bala, you know?
Yeah, I think that was a Netflix documentary.
And the world, like the government, found out, said, you guys gotta pay these fines, you gotta do all this shit, like you gotta stop doing this. And HSBC was just like, fuck you. They got summoned to court and to fucking like state hearings and shit. They didn't show. They're like, what are you gonna do? We're billionaires and we fucking have all the bad people, using us for banking. What are you gonna do? They just said, fuck you. We're not stopping. And they're massive, man. Oh, it's crazy.
I don't know, man. I don't think that part with China being like a very big worldwide producer is going to be turning into bottlenecking the U.S. for.
Well, I think from my standpoint, it just means they have the resources to keep a long war going. And China, I've heard lots of people say China doesn't think in decades or years or decades. They think it's centuries. So with them, because they have a serious army. Like, there's no doubt. I think they have that mandatory. You have to do 2 years in the army minimum.
I think there's a few countries that have that.
The only thing about China,
there is a lot of people that do that.
A war is the only thing long that they.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
We got our surprise guest here for you, buddy.
What's up, buddy? All right. Well, thank God that happened. All right.
Another intervention.
I got a chair right over there for you, buddy.
Chair right over there, Stefan. What's up, big guy?
No, I'm not too.
Oh, coming in on the hots.
Coming in on the hots.
Spider-Man sequel here, Doctor.
You know how long I've been trying to line this up?
Oh, well, that's awesome.
The other guys are going to lose their shit when they watch this. Because
fuck yeah.
Do you remember the old group chat where like, is Gunner coming? And everybody's like, who?
Good old Gunner.
We got some headphones there too.
There you go. Put them on, yeah.
Yeah, we got a whole new upgrade here.
Oh, and they're razors too?
Yeah.
I think those are actually chases.
Look at the podcast room Josh built for us. Got sound baffling on the walls, special lights and stuff.
Is there left, right, up, down?
I think either one.
It's records records in mono.
That goes on the right.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear?
Yes.
Do a mic check for you?
Yeah. You know,
get your mic in your face there. Crabs.
Hello.
There you go.
So,
well, anyway, okay. Well, Stefan, we're talking about China, and
we have Stefan. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Gunlickson.
Gunlickson. So we have to hold
the Gunlicker. That's why we call him Gunner.
You have to kind of hold it close to your mouth so it picks up.
Yeah, get right up in that business.
Yeah, the front part where the white is where you talk into.
Yeah, there you go.
Where the lettering is, that's where the mic picks up.
Yeah, that's the best pickup.
Jesus, it's like in a BDSM kind of strap.
Stand by for technical difficulties.
It's like a sex swing for microphones here.
Well,
How you been, buddy?
Depends on the show.
Not too bad. Yeah, I just came back from some hunting. Didn't get any. It's general elk tag, so it's general elk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of hunting, we're talking about the army in China.
Oh.
And how they're hunting for a reason to fuck up America.
So far, our topics today have been how monarchy sucks.
Yeah. Were you sad about the Queen dying?
Well, not overly. I mean, she's been around for a while, and she did her job. I'm not sure exactly what it all entails, but
yeah, basically just not paying tax and being rich.
Yeah, no,
and waving at a couple of people every once in a while. That was about all I knew she did.
Having 5 medium-sized dogs take a shit everywhere. And
She did have horses too. She had big horses.
Oh yeah, horses. Yeah.
She enjoyed horses.
And then we what else were we talking about? How Russia and the whole big
Russia being all fucking ready to gear up to fight the war.
Trying to swing a big dick around.
That's kind of why we got to China and about how they're gonna fucking.
Well, I think when it comes to Russia and China, you're talking about the same thing, because not only that, you have Russia is going to be looking to turn off gas gas and then sell whatever they got to China because they can.
Russia and China are definitely going to be in bed together.
Didn't they agree to have their monetary system recognize each other now?
See, that's what I mean. I think if you look at that kind of like whole area of countries that are kind of gearing up to start World War III, like we were talking about, Russia is the muscle. Russian people are fucking scary. Like, they're fucking, I'll fuck you up. I'll,
Are you scared of Russians?
Honestly, man, think about it. If you were walking down the street and some guy started talking to you in a Russian accent, you would be like, okay, I better make sure I know my exits. Is there any boards on the floor that I could use as a weapon? The Chinese people are more like, they're the financiers.
A throwaway bottle of vodka to distract.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I actually saw a comedian once. He made a really funny joke. He said, I live in a really rough neighborhood. And it used to always be, hey, white boy, fucking, do you know where you are? And he's like, I found a way around that. Somebody would be like, white boy, do you know what neighborhood you're in? And he's like, oh, you think this is bad neighborhood? And nobody would fuck with him after that. And I was like, that's genius, man. You're a fucking crazy Russian. Nobody wants to fuck with Russians are strong. They're tough people.
Who was the one comedian? He was saying, whatever Russians do, they talk and everything sounds scary. It makes you like you ask them a question, and they always answer you with a question.
Yeah.
And then when they answer you with a straight question, you don't want to do what they say. It's like walking down New York. Hey man, you know where the subway is? The subway.
The subway.
You looking for the subway?
You look for subway. Oh shit!
Yeah. You go down the street. You turn the corner.
Calm down, Vlad. I'll go ask John over there. Never mind.
You go down the street, turn the corner. You'll find subway.
Yeah.
He's like, I am definitely not going on that subway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, but that's what I mean. Russia is like the muscle. They've got a lot of army, and they love to fuck with America, especially like anything Western, really. But America,
they or do Putin? Like, there's people.
They do.
There's so many citizens scrambling from Russia right now to get out.
Well,
because of the draft.
In any regime like that is there's certainly going to be people who don't agree. I'm not saying all Russians hate Americans. I'm just saying the kind of general feel, especially since the Cold War, and like you said, when the USSR dissolved, it's always kind of been a point of contention with them, and they actually openly have a thing where, like, when say like in Canada or America, the government wants to use funds to do something clandestine, whatever. They have to clear it, and generally, they have to kind of at least pretend like they're going to. Russia just says, we're taking $100 million to go fuck with America. You don't need to know anything more than that. Yeah. And they'll just fucking do that. And the people kind of generally accept it because they've been kind of sending agents in to cause chaos, especially in America, for a long time. And if they're kind of gearing up for this war, China doesn't like America either. They're not a big fan of the West. No. Like they have their firewalls up. They don't even get the internet.
Right now, there's not even any inbound or outbound flights coming in and out of China since the prime minister has been under house arrest.
Well, and that's what I mean. So
which is a really fucked up thing.
It sounds like a really good merging between those two if they want to actually do something serious and start a war. Yeah, I would see them getting in bed together. Well, that would make sense.
Well, either side, like both NATO and Russia, kind of have a bit of a debacle because on one hand, Russia hasn't been in a conflict since Afghanistan back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And America is seen with Ukraine that the amount of smart weapons that they can kind of push at their availability is kind of lacking because it's just, wow, this can go by really quick and we're not even fighting it. We're just doing this. And then, so it's going to be interesting how, if there is a conflict that goes on, how it's going to go. It's not like the Messerschmitts or Spitfires that is like, oh, we can just take this factory and just use the same machines and make airplanes instead. Can't do that with like a F-35. With the amount of
little more
ships
technical
that go through there, especially if Taiwan
you can probably get the cheap version of the F-35, which is basically
the F-34
remote control one.
The F-34, it's his cheap cousin.
Yeah, made in China.
Yeah,
we need.
All right, well, we're gonna go have a break, and then we'll come back, and I think we'll go from world wars to local skirmishes real soon here.
I think so.
All right, we'll see you guys back in about 5 seconds, probably less.
Thank you for not saying a word from
our sponsor.
Damn you! You sure you're ready?
I'm always ready, buddy.
Because we are back.
Burp.
I'm ready now.
From our sponsor, Gunners Guns.
From our sponsor, Blank Pages and Black Screens. If the blackest screens you've ever seen. Anyway, so we were talking about the Queen dying, Russia starting World War III. along with the theme of the world going fucking crazy, the whole stabbing incident with Miles, what you said, Miles Sanderson?
Yes.
Who, like, holy shit, was that some fucking nuts. So I was coming back from a fishing trip, and I went right through, what is it, Melford? Was where it kind of all kicked off. I mean, I know it was the
Melford area, kind of.
the Melford area, right?
James Smith First Nation.
Yes. So we were coming back from a fishing trip, and I was getting all those alerts, and they're like in the Melford area and da 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 da, and we kind of just were slowly learning about that. But okay, so that was super crazy, and then as he gets caught, self-inflicted wounds. Who buys that story?
Well,
or do we buy? Like, do you guys feel that's an actual thing?
What happens is they didn't have very much details when that happened. It happened 20 minutes after he was arrested. Now,
Yes.
what the thing is that he had multiple drug charges, and the theory is that he could have had a whole lot of narcotics on him. He probably could have ate everything he had before he got taken into custody.
I heard it was stab wounds, though. I heard he cut himself.
I didn't know that.
Like I said, I don't know 100%. I believe it does kind of make sense, though. A guy that goes on a stabbing rampage, he's obviously wanted. He's in a lot of shit. Maybe he just said, "Fuck it, I'm caught."
I heard the aliens came and got him.
Well, I mean, whoever fucking did it, thank you for getting him. Yeah. But that was just super fucking crazy. And how many people did he end up killing?
10 and 11. 11?
Was 11.
Oh, it was 11. And
yeah.
And then 18.
Now, do you think his brother passed of something that happened between the two of them?
Well, when I heard that his brother was found dead on, you said it was James Cree First Nation, right?
James Smith Cree Nation.
James Smith, whatever. When they found him, it sounds like he was dead kind of right at the start. And they just thought, because they hadn't seen him, they assumed that he was doing some shit with Miles. It sounded like Miles probably was one of the first victims. I mean, that's just how it sounds like to me. I don't know. I didn't really look deep into it, but it just kind of, it seems like, I know it was an evolving situation and it's chaotic and they can't really know, but at the same time, when you're saying there's two suspects and there's only one and the other guy turns out to be a victim, it kind of doesn't look good on, the police work.
It was kind of hairy, too, when they said that the vehicle he was in was spotted in Regina. Now, do you think that was true and he just went back up there? Or do you think he never left and somebody was hiding him?
I think it's kind of both, right? You don't know. You have to go with any lead that you get.
And you also have to kind of like think about it. Even every stage is that there's, whenever they make a statement like that you have multiple things that could happen at a stage. And
yes.
And you don't know how one person has interacted, and sometimes your imagination is like, "Oh, he's lumped in there too," or something like that. And it's really hard to say, and it has to come out with investigation and stuff like that. Otherwise, you won't really know.
Saskatoon police is doing the investigation, right?
So it's hard. It's tough.
Saskatoon police.
Yeah. So when the way it works in any kind of what do you call it? Organization, I would guess you would call it, or jurisdiction. So if there was something that involved the death of somebody in custody, then it's a different jurisdiction that has to do the investigation.
Yeah, it's like an internal affairs thing.
Yeah, so if something happens with the RCMP, say if a RCMP officer ends up having to take somebody down with a firearm, that is not an RCMP investigation. That is a third-party investigation, whether it be Regina Police, Saskatoon, Prince Albert, depending on probably what jurisdiction is probably the nearest.
Yeah.
And that officer is absolutely stripped on the scene. All his gear, his utility belt, or his or her, is taken off their person, and they basically get given a change of clothes to change into, and everything they have on them
is entered as evidence.
As evidence.
Okay.
And then they I think are on leave until investigation is done.
Okay, well that makes sense. And like I said, I'm not insinuating anything. I just, when you hear that self-inflicted wounds, the guy died, especially after what he did, killing so many people, being so violent and stuff, you could definitely, I mean, there's definitely that even just the thought that maybe somebody wanted to really just fucking hurt this guy because of what he's doing.
Well, self-inflicted can also span in inflicting harm.
Yeah, he might have been resisting, and that was self-inflicted. But
it's a tough one.
I think it does sound plausible that he was just so fucking nuts about whatever had gone on.
Either
that
drugs
he was,
or a knife or
even just a mental break. I mean, a guy who kills 11 people obviously isn't fucking mentally stable.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you hear about? Did you hear what one of the witnesses of him being arrested said too? One of the witnesses said that he watched the vehicle get forced off the road, and when they got him out of the vehicle and they were arresting him, he was laughing and being cheeky and laughing at them and stuff like that. I'm guessing probably saying something stupid like, "Oh, it took you this long to get me," or anything like that. Yeah,
that's fucked up.
So he was obviously not sober by any means.
Yeah, well, like I said, even if it wasn't drugs or anything, like the guy's clearly in a fucking he's in a different mental state. Like the fact that you're going around, I'm pretty sure all of them were stabbed to death. Yes, like if you gotta think about just the mechanics of that. 11 people stabbed to death. That's a lot of fucking rage.
He has had
and work.
20-some previous charges he's been released on beforehand.
Yeah. Were they all violent offenses? Do we know?
That I don't know.
Yeah, we should look
my
into
phone's
that.
using the camera right now, but somebody who has a phone.
We should Google on your fancy keyboard there.
My wireless one's not working right now.
Fine. We'll just Google it up, Stefan. Like, yeah, like, I'm just saying, like, a guy that, like, even just like I said, you think about the mechanics of it. Stabbing somebody to death is not an easy thing to do. And then you kind of expand that to 11 people. Like, that takes a lot of, like, you think a guy would burn out.
Well, not at the same time. He went from different
but
place
that's
to
what I'm
different
saying.
place.
Like, the fact that he kept that murderous intent up for that long and caused that many people harm. And I think he harmed even more people than he killed. Like I said, I think it was like something like 15 people injured or something. But that's like, even if it wasn't fueled by, like, that's got to be fueled by some kind of fucking deep hatred for whoever set him off or drugs or whatever it was.
I think
just that's a lot of rage to be carrying around for that long.
The entire upbringing of that individual.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he had some fucking
Miles,
history.
His history goes back a long ways, and beginning when he was young, and about 20 years with convictions of domestic violence, armed robbery, and many other violent attacks.
Yeah, see, so mostly violence.
Including a double stabbing committed with a fork.
Ooh.
And he was roaming free.
Well, technically, if it's a fork, isn't it always like a 3 or a 4 stabbing at once?
Tell me the justice system is fucked up without telling me the justice system
is
fucked
up. You're just being ignorant. You're not being very inclusive.
Okay. No, but you are 100%. I used to live in North Battleford, right? And at the time, one of the big radio shows in North Battleford.
Why did you live there?
Yeah, just terrible life decisions. But they had like a thing every day. It was like people wanted, right, in the area. And they would say, so-and-so is wanted for, theft or burglary or whatever. And it would always end with, and failure to appear 47 times, 17 times, 18. Like, all I could think about every time they read these things out, and when they'd say failure to appear 30 times or failure to appear 50 times, you're like, why do you keep letting this guy go? I mean, if nothing else, he's not going to show to the fucking arraignment. He's not coming to fucking his court dates if he's failed to appear 30 fucking times or 40, 50, 100, whatever. Like, that was the one thing that got me. I get that people do shit and they get in trouble and you have to put them through the system. But I think there should be a point that, like, once you reach 10 failure to appears or 15, they no longer say, okay, we can't let this guy go on bail. Like, he has to fucking be held because he's not
dirty area after you.
Well, something, man. Like, I'm just saying, next time you arrest him, don't let him fucking go.
Day.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Our justice system
it's pretty nuts.
Something wrong with that. And
I mean, say what you will about the Americans, but I mean, if you had some kind of drafted constitution in a form where it keeps what we have, but it says, if you're out on the farm, you're out doing your business, you have something on your side, you can have it tucked away, concealed, and then somebody comes up like that because nobody else would have thought that if somebody would have come up on
then
and stab him.
That brings us back to the Gerald Stanley case.
Yeah, well, that's a can of worms we can open, I guess.
Yeah.
I've always kind of had the contention that guy. I mean, it's tragic what happened, but somebody's coming around on your house, stealing your shit, drunk as fuck, a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. Somebody gets shot. I don't think that's that guy's fault.
And that's the thing. He didn't have a line on his wife. Wasn't in the house. He couldn't see her up, and last he saw her was where they pulled up, and he didn't know where she was at.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, like I said, it's tragic, and yes, even if the kid was passed out, like, Nobody's going to a farm and stealing people's shit and not raising tension in that area, whether the guy's got a gun or not, or he's going to come out and firing. Like you know, if I broke into somebody's house, like say I broke into Josh's house, I got locked out of my house one day. I break into Josh's house, bust his window at 3 a.m. in the morning. If he comes out aggressive, I can't get mad at him for that, even though I know him and I'm his friend. I'm breaking into his fucking house.
No, it wasn't
like,
your
he has
fault,
a reason.
Steve. It
Yeah.
was the system.
I usually just wait for Duke's reaction.
Oh,
yeah.
If Duke barks,
Duke would just be like, "Hey, buddy, why are you coming through the window?"
if Duke barks, then I know I come out swinging. If Duke's like, I hear his claws tapping on the floor, then I know we're good.
Yeah.
My brother, like we always had this kind of discussion when I'm at my parents' place, and my brother would be there and parents would be there, and King, he's a 120-some pound Tibetan Mastiff.
Oh,
Hey, big boy.
And then my dad said, he's like, well, it'd be unfortunate if someone broke in here. I would try and phone 911 as quick as I can, but I'm old and it takes me time to get to that phone. And King would just ripping whatever.
Your dad's just on the phone. King,
that's
King,
the
calm
first
down.
time I've heard of somebody in Saskatchewan having a Tibetan Mastiff.
Yes, they're rare. Like they're
Don't tell China.
They are. I think those are chows that China likes.
yeah. They're
No, I meant they don't like Tibetan stuff.
Okay.
You're gonna have to violently suppress King.
We're secure from China.
You might live here, but this isn't your home.
China tried to suppress his ancestors for so many millennia. He's violently opposed to them on a
he's
genetic
not a fan
level.
of. He's not a fan of China,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
He'll take down all the ones that are
Those
training.
dogs
in
were
northern
bred
Canada,
to be
so-
guard dogs. No,
What's that?
those dogs were bred to be
They
guard
were-
dogs.
Weren't they meant to hunt bears or
Nope,
something?
they're mostly defensive.
Really?
But they will fight bears. So
Yeah.
in Tibet,
They're a big dog, man. It's like half bear.
They are
yeah,
half bear. They're fucking huge.
And what they're originally meant to do was protect Tibetan
Monks?
palaces, or not palaces, but shrines that would have valuables that they would have offerings to their.
I don't think I would
deities.
go near one of those things
No.
rolling around.
And they're
in
very
the dark.
territorial. Like they're not very fast. They are fast in a short distance, but
But if
and
they get a hold of you, you ain't.
Oh
getting
yeah,
it.
Yeah, you're
no,
done.
that's a lot of power.
I mean, all you have to look up is like on YouTube, like Tibetan Mastiff defends, and there's some Ukrainian, Russian lady, I don't know who raises them, but you can see their power. One, they actually had to like take him in a harness with a nylon strap anchored into a concrete wall so that they could.
they could
The
keep
other
him
ones
on
that
the
they could
leash.
get on a leash. They got a guy who could get him on a leash, but the other one they had to a nylon strap and then anchored into a wall so he wouldn't come off of it.
That's power, man.
Somebody's
that-
sitting
that was
off
an-
site with a fucking trank gun just in case.
in that particular video.
Calm
One
down,
guy
buddy.
one guy had some nuts on because he didn't come with a full suit. He just had the arm one.
Ooh.
It was like, man, if he screwed up and he wanted to go for his leg instead, man, you're playing a dangerous game.
Oh, man.
Even just for a test, those
Just a thrill
those
seeker.
big
Those dog suits.
suits. Yeah.
Oh man.
Just a
Could
test.
you imagine being that person? It's like, hey,
That's yeah.
sunshine. Hey, cut
Do I got a job for you? You like dogs,
got an
right?
idea.
You
Here,
gotta
buddy.
go to the test.
Of course I love dogs. I'll do any job with a dog. You
Come here, sunshine.
think your job sucks?
Okay, what am I gonna do here, guys? Okay, well, you're gonna put this suit on. Oh boy.
Run. You run now.
We now call him Half Moon. 'Cause there's a big bite out of his ass.
Hold up the pack of smokes.
Yeah. Tell me you want my money.
But yes, he's a very powerful dog, and they have been known to fight. Like they'll go up against anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Bears, if it threatens their outside of their territory, like outside of the house or the temple or wherever. Holy shit!
Look what you did.
Yeah. and bad microphone.
You take that.
And yeah, and so they'll go after anything. Bears, Chinese invasion troops. They'll go after anything.
Girl
It doesn't
Scouts
matter. Yeah.
trying to sell cookies really aggressively. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I mean,
they'll go after them. Yeah,
this
if you
last-
decide that they're not supposed to be there, or if he thinks you're not supposed to be there, you're at the very least getting talking to by his massive bark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least like the guy who tried selling me an alarm system a couple weeks ago and wouldn't get off my fucking deck.
Oh.
Oh, yeah?
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
The aggressive salesman.
Just let King out. Yeah.
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 That'll.
But so anyway, we kind of steered away
Yeah.
from this terrible thing that happened. Now, it kind of feels like that's, well, I don't know if it's a trend. I mean, we did have that stabbing. Do you remember, I don't know, it was probably like 5-6 years ago. The guy went into the Cornwall and stabbed like 4 people.
No, I think he bear maced everybody.
No, he stabbed them.
Oh,
He
did he
stabbed
really?
4
Oh, he
people. I
stabbed
don't think
them?
he killed anybody,
Oh.
but a guy just went into Cornwall and started stabbing people.
think
I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that. And so that was kind of like a precursor. This one, obviously, much more serious. More people got injured. Obviously, people died.
Yep.
Now we've got this thing. You guys were talking about it just the other day. I didn't know much about it, but there was apparently somebody, a girl.
Oh, at Johnson High School.
Yes, Johnson High School with a fucking gun.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you want to talk about things we think.
But that de-escalated. I think it nothing.
No, nobody got killed,
other than
thank
that
God.
happened.
It's something we don't see a lot of here. You know, you hear about it in the States, mass shootings, school shootings. It's always terrible, but it's kind of become so common. You know, it's not like when Columbine happened, you know, that was like huge news. Everybody knew about it. It was terrible. And then it just kind of ramped up from there. And it's so often now you're kind of like, now it's starting to come home. And I mean, like I said, this one, obviously nobody died, thank God. I don't know what the girl's issue was, whether she was made fun of at school or something like that. But
I'm not sure how
that's
that was
just kind of a
possible
real
because
scary
that
thing.
gun was on probably on the banned list anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well, you just
shouldn't
have to,
happened.
if you go and track her pal and you look at the registration when she filed the registration for the firearm, you'll be able to find out how she got it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
exactly.
You can
Right?
you can track that.
I mean,
all
that's
the way
how it's
back.
supposed to work, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's as we all suspiciously look at the
Yeah.
camera at Justin Trudeau.
Thank you, Trudeau.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Speaking of which, we kind of brushed over that video. Did you see that video of him at the fucking
yeah, that
Queen's
vi- yeah,
funeral?
that video.
Oh my God!
I mean,
How embarrassing can you make us look?
Yeah.
well, I mean, he wasn't doing anything overly like he was singing a song,
the
but
most tone deaf thing you
Now
probably
was that an embarrassment to the Queen, or was that an embarrassment to Queen?
Well, us. and
well,
the
I
Queen.
think it was Queen squared at that point because
Well, you're
but
going to a funeral and then you get videotaped
He
singing
went to
Queen.
you went to a funeral
Horribly.
with a dead queen, and then you killed a Queen song. Like that's just kind of like going for the
That's a-
trifecta
yeah,
there.
that's a
I don't
double
know.
whammy right there.
It really is, and I mean, like I said, it wasn't overly scary. He was just singing a song, but
No.
not the proper moment.
Not right at
you
all.
know, to be having a good time.
If I'm a world leader, if I'm the Prime Minister of Canada and I'm going to
State
show
funeral.
my support to mourn the loss of another country's leader.
well,
I'm
technically,
not-
our country's leader, if you really want to get,
State funeral.
you know what I mean.
Potato.
Yeah.
Or potato, fuck off. Whatever you really want. But the fucking, I'm not gonna go sit there in the lobby and start drinking and start like.
Yeah, go back to your room.
Yeah, I'm not
You
gonna
want to
sit
go
there
have
and
some
be
fun.
like,
You
you
got
know
a hell
what,
of a
you
nice
guys?
room, Justin Trudeau. I know you do.
We're gonna mourn the loss of a world leader here. What do you guys think we should do?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. Make
the
sure everyone
fucking-
can hear it.
Yeah.
It's the fucking Catalina
Start
wine.
dancing.
Do it in the
around.
lobby.
Well, at least he didn't do it in blackface this time. Like, let's give him
Well,
something,
yeah.
eh? Fuck.
And then also, what was the number one hashtag on Twitter for the past couple of weeks?
I don't know what was. I don't Twitter.
Number one hashtag on Twitter, trending is Trudeau must go.
Oh.
And
Well,
tons of posts of people saying that I'm a mother of two. I work full time. I work a second job to try and make ends meet. I give back to the community. I volunteered at the shelter. But Trudeau thinks I'm a misogynist and I'm a racist. And,
yeah.
and
Oh, he hates everything I'm about.
Oh, he's woke. He's woke squared. Like
Yeah.
that guy is just.
I'm in the oil and gas industry. I like firearms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Doesn't like
the whole media outlets are now saying, "Oh, this was something behind whatever Russia or something like that, or somebody." These are all bots on Twitter that are making all these posts, and it's
Yeah.
like, first of all, bots usually make the exact same post about the exact same everything. These are videos. Somebody said TikTok. The whole thing on TikTok was all about that. Instagram, there was all these people.
Nope, bots.
Bots.
Well,
100% Russian bots.
They're bots.
the AI is coming a long way with
Vlad
bots.
3.0 over here. Fucking,
Yeah.
Goddamn deep fake
Trudeau must go.
AI bots
Yeah. Fucking damn you, Russia.
Yeah,
that
these-
are self-autonomous
Yeah,
from Russia.
these AI bots are really coming a long way.
You're giving Russia a lot of credit for these bots. I'll tell you that one.
Wouldn't
Have
they
you
be?
ever,
I think they'd be ARs.
AI.
Go-
Artificial Russians.
I don't know.
Artificial intelligence bots.
I
for
don't-
Russia.
I don't know if I ever told you this one. I told the other guys that, but Even what's his name there? Elon Musk decided to be a Trudeau hater.
Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah.
So he bought
He
the
got on
rights
that
to
bandwagon.
www.liar.com.
Oh, really?
So type that in your phone.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Type that on your phone, www.liar.com. That's Elon Musk's bought the ownership to that website, that domain name.
Yeah, and it's funny what it brings up.
Yeah.
Liar. Okay.
Those are good.
Right to the Wikipedia.
Right to Wikipedia for Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau.
Quite interesting. Yeah.
And
But
your
yeah, Trudeau
stupid haircut.
and that I mean, but that's, I don't know, it's par for the course nowadays. I think he's done worse things. And
he's going to continue if he's still in power.
well, I think that's kind of also our fault, though. I think we need to vote him out.
Do you
if
think
we
we'll
really
have an
want-
election this fall because of everything?
I don't know, man. I don't give a shit.
Especially with that Pierre being hot on his tail now, and they're scared.
Yeah.
And for the record, everything that we're going through now is the fault of everybody who said, "Oh, he has nice hair," and based it off of nothing like that. So if you're listening, this is all your fault. Okay.
I remember
Did you see his Lloyd Christmas haircut?
Lloyd Christmas, yeah, that was great. The Lloyd Christmas, but yeah. So back to what we're talking about. The world's going crazy. The Queen is dead. Trudeau's making a fool of himself. I mean, that's kind of normal for every day.
And
But
us.
Yep.
then we have this massive stabbing and a kid with a gun at school. Like, are we kind of catching up to America at this point? Like, are we starting to see it bleed over into our country? Like, how long do you think it's going to be before we have a mass shooting? And I mean, I'm not saying Canada has never had one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
I think
like,
there's
when
a
are
lot
we?
more
When's
that-
Regina going to get
Well,
its
I think-
first kind of
I
fucking
think
real
it's-
taste of terrible?
Well, once Winnipeg's done with it, then we'll probably cross over to us.
Yeah,
Once Winnipeg shuts down and says, you guys got to all move to Saskatchewan. All right, fine.
Well, a lot of the things that really play a part into it is like lack of responsibility in our society. If you think about it, everything that happens, like somebody falls and drowns in 2 inches of water. Oh, the thing should have fucking
Yeah.
dollar.
Yeah.
And you know, it keeps going on. When I was in school, the very first thing, and I think was the most detrimental thing that you could possibly do, is like I make reasons why I'm special. Is like, well, I work out in the pipeline, and I know I'll do this, I know I'll do that, and so I make myself special my own way.
Mm-hmm.
But when the biggest lie that is sold to kids that are just that
You
have
can
done
be
it-
anything you
You
want
can
to
be anything. Well, yeah, like, and I think that's not a bad message, but it's like you're
terrible.
special. It's like what makes you special is like I hold a 90-degree Fahrenheit body temperature.
Yeah.
and
you're going to get a medal for showing up.
and
for that.
and the medals, and that's the other thing, is because that is the deep-seated, like, there's other factors as well attacking it, but like the foundation of the house, I believe, sits on you're special. Don't ask us why. That's but you are special, and everything's gonna be hunky dory. And guess what? That's all the way up through elementary school,
Yeah.
high school. It's straight hunky dory through high school, and then it's like, oh, these are all the things. You're gonna do great. It'll be fine. It'll be great. Nothing bad will happen.
Yeah.
And guess what? Then and George Carlin actually had a pretty good.
I miss
George
that.
Carlin.
I miss
That guy was
that
and he says,
motherfucker, man.
and then he said, when you get out in the real world, the boss will said, "You're a loser. Pack up your shit. Get the fuck out of here, you
Yeah,
loser."
yeah.
And guess what? Now you encountered everything that has been sold to you is a lie.
Yeah.
And
And you
you are
fucking
now
lose your shit.
And now people who have, there's people who can deal with that and be like, okay, what I was sold was a lie, and I'm going to start to improve myself. Now you're going to have, but also there's the other people who will encounter a mental break that cannot comprehend the fact that
Mm-hmm.
they've been lied to, and will mentally distance themselves to the point where it can break.
Do you think it's? I'm going to use, as we talked before, as an example with kids in sports. Do you think that every kid should get a medal or a trophy for showing up, or do you think they should be the standard winners
No.
get the trophy,
No.
Winners get the
losers
trophy.
don't
No,
get nothing?
and
You can have like a participation ribbon if you want.
I mean,
but
yeah, like something
any
like
kid
that.
who has a fucking self-esteem
But
is
it-
going to be like, that's
But
the
if you
shit
win-
gift.
But if you
Yeah.
win the tournament, you get the trophy.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you don't.
Exactly.
All the ones that I got that we didn't. I think we didn't win one or two times in like baseball. Those ones got thrown in the garbage.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why, and they're just not there.
Well, even
And they're just not there, and then don't worry about it, Steph, and like we'll do better next time.
Yeah.
And guess what? Like the only ones I actually had, there are medals and stuff that I received that got thrown in the garbage.
Yeah.
Because they just weren't supposed to be there.
yeah, they were
Well,
bullshit.
That's sending the wrong message.
Yeah, there's also ones that
Got to learn how to
I
lose.
think. Like, did you play sports growing up?
Yeah, I played baseball and shit.
Baseball.
Like
What'd you play?
Baseball, mostly baseball and stuff like
Okay,
that.
so we're all pretty much the same. So now,
Yeah.
to me, playing sports growing up taught me about that I'm not going to win at everything, and that I can deal with a loss. I can deal with. I'm not going to have everything handed to me just because I showed up.
that. Well, exactly.
That's what it taught me growing up.
That's what competition is about. Even more so, though, one of the things that I've
Are you
always...
perspiring?
I am. I'm getting warm in here. It's a
I
little
turned the
warm.
AC wrong.
I know, but I was also wearing a very thick coat. One of the things that always kind of baffles me is, like you said, not so much that they're rewarding people for being special, but like look at the whatchamacallit, the school zone speed limits, right? We have them near elementary schools. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Young kids, they don't know. But I mean, what was one of the very first things your parents taught you as a child?
Cross.
Look both
Look
ways.
both ways
Both
before
ways.
crossing the street, right?
Look at you, eh?
Yeah.
Just run.
Yeah, go! Close your eyes and take a chance. My parents didn't like me very much.
Yeah, and then my leash caught. and they
But
brought me
then they
back.
have them at high schools. I think if your kid is in high school, they should fucking know to look both ways before they cross the
At
street.
that
I think,
point, I think some more responsibility needs to be put on
well,
kids. at a
that's what I'm
younger
saying.
age.
Like, you're in high school, you're 13 at the very minimum. I mean, maybe, a 12-year-old possibly if you started school early or something. But like, they should know by then that cars are dangerous. You don't run out in front of them. Look both ways.
Yeah,
It's a very
yellow-
simple
yellow
fact. of
ones
life.
don't
That's
stop.
other people's fault, Stephen.
But that's what I mean. We've gotten so
It's not
worried
theirs.
about. Oh, I know. It's not
It's
the
other
kids'
people's.
fault. It's the
Well,
parents, the helicopter parents who, like
we
you
have
said,
no
they're
responsibility,
trying
yeah.
to make sure their precious baby. And I get you're looking after your kid. It's not like it's coming from a malicious place, but you're bubble wrapping them to that point, kind of like you said with that mentality.
Remember when you were a kid?
We tell them they're special. We tell them they're beautiful and that they're the world's fucking precious little oyster.
This
and the
bad
first
thing
time
that happened to you, you could have
they
done nothing to
realize that
mitigate
that's
it.
not true.
Yeah.
You're gonna break. Well, same kind of thing with the physical rules. Like, this kid is like, I don't have to look both ways because they got speed limits now. I'm just gonna fucking run out and people have to stop for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the amount of people I've seen, like just grown adults. If you go
man.
down,
Oh, and
downtown.
downtown here where they just
And-
walk across and be like, "Fuck you! I don't care if the lights green."
and especially out of the Cornwall, that's where you're going to get the most data points.
Yeah.
Lots.
And that's you look at that and you see people like full on headphones and just looking down and crossing the street. Like,
Yeah.
they'll see, oh, the man's there.
Do you remember when?
It's like nothing.
Remember when you were
Really?
a kid? When did you have a cell phone when you were a kid?
When I first got the cell phone, I was able to borrow my mom's cell phone on weekends, grade 11.
So when you were younger,
No.
what time did you have to go home when you were younger?
I'd say
When the streetlights
yeah,
came on?
streetlights. Weekends and stuff were a bit more lax.
How
because
did
it's
we
the weekend.
survive?
Yeah, right.
Well,
How did we make it
I
through?
hydrated myself by drinking out of the
The hose.
the
Out of the
hose,
hose, yeah.
and also the fountain across from the Mormon temple, which we would take our skateboards and piss off the Mormons by skateboarding. in the parking lots.
Right, we were real rebels. Yeah.
No, it's the whole society. I think like I was staying at home by myself at 11 years old.
Oh, yeah.
when my parents
Oh,
went
yeah.
out. Like that was a normal thing. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
don't open the door. Okay.
Yeah. Don't open the door. Don't answer
If
the phone.
they don't have a key, they shouldn't be coming in the house. Okay,
Yep.
done.
Exactly. It was easy shit, and now it's like fucking. I don't know. You got to be 17 before you're allowed at home alone for over an hour or something like that.
I was left
Oh,
at the.
man.
I don't know. There were times where my parents went to go visit, and I was just at the farm, and it was like, yeah, here's some firewood for the firebox, and if squirrels show up, here's 4 shells of 410 for the squirrels. Water. Don't drink the water out of the tap; it will kill you.
Yeah.
We don't have the new well in yet.
100%
And then after that, you should be fine. You just have to boil, filter.
Don't
and-
breathe because there's a lot of asbestos in the walls. Okay.
What
so
am I
just be
going to
careful.
filter the water with? Just
There's
use
some,
your sock.
There's a lead pipe over there. You can run it through. It really helps clean it out.
And here's a baseball and a stick. You
Yeah.
can entertain
Oh,
yourself
shit,
while
then-
we're gone.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Just play in the house.
I know how to thrive and survive.
Well, but yeah, and that's kind of, I think, where we're hitting on is the main thing is this
Yeah, we got 40
overprotection,
seconds.
over fucking sanitation, over fucking parenting, hovering is really weakening the fabric of people being independent.
And then you'll
we
see
can,
things like this pop up.
Yes, and we will.
bubbles up
We
from
can
this
get back to this
product.
after another word from the black screen sponsors.
Oh my God, the blackface. sponsor.
Okanagan can sponsor us.
The blackface
Stephen's pounding them
channel
back.
sponsor.
Throw it out there, boy.
Okanagans! I love them!
They taste delicious.
And on that note, we're back again.
All right.
Are we back?
We are back.
We're-
okay. So we're back again, and following the theme of the world's gone crazy. And
I don't know if I'm back.
I think you're back.
Well, you're back better than the other two guys who haven't been to the podcast.
Yeah, Chase and Mike.
About
Fucking
what,
start upping your
19
game, bro.
I mean, I
Episodes?
don't know if my mic is on.
I think your mic's on. You might just is your
Your group chat's
your
definitely
shit.
on.
Oh, yeah. You just got to wiggle it every once in a while.
Your group chat's not
Giggity.
actually
Just got to
on.
give it a bit of a.
Anyway, so you guys wanted to talk about the current situation in Iran. Now, I didn't know much about this until we just watched a YouTube video, but now clearly I'm an expert. So let's talk about. Okay, apparently in Iran there was a 22-year-old woman who didn't want to wear her hijab, right? Yeah,
Well, she
the
wasn't wearing,
headscarf
apparently
thing.
wasn't wearing it properly.
She was wearing it, just not wearing it properly.
Apparently.
Okay.
And, in Iran, they have the morality police.
Yes, they do.
So basically, they enforce this rule for what dress code or
Well,
whatever
dress
it is.
code. I think you also you can't drink. You have to there's a bunch of things that you have to follow. But yeah,
Yeah.
the dress code for
So
women is very.
she got taken into custody. A week later, she passed away in the hospital, and the doctors tried saying it was a heart attack. When the family said she had no underlying health issues, and the autopsy said it was trauma to the brain that killed her.
Yeah, yeah. The giant black eyes and the contusions
Yeah,
on her
they beat her.
face might have been a
Yeah.
hint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so she died because the police obviously beat her for not being, a proper Iranian, wearing the dress code and stuff like that. And now it's sparked. I think they said something 100 different countries,
100 different cities in Iran.
Okay, in
100
Iran.
different cities in Iran, plus all over the world. There's protests where
Yeah.
women are cutting their hair and
Burning their scarves and
burning
stuff
their scarves
like
and
Yes.
everything like that.
Okay.
Which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think the
the protest,
protests are good. I don't
Yes.
think people dying over this is awesome, but I know what you mean.
it is
Or
insane.
at least I hope that's what
it
you
is
mean.
insane in Iran right now. Like
It
we were
is.
saying before, they cut all internet in Iran,
Mm-hmm.
and they. I think before you couldn't even media wouldn't cover any locations in Iran for any type of
Like
news
for news or anything like
yeah.
that?
And even I saw the one lady. She went to go interview the president, and he didn't show up for the interview.
Yeah. Well, you guys were
she
talking about
didn't
that.
Wear the scarf.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
didn't
she
wear
was
a
an
scarf.
American journalist, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
American journalist.
She didn't want to wear the hijab.
And so he walked out of the interview because he thought it was an insult. He thought it was an insult to him that she didn't want to wear a scarf.
Well,
And
it's
she
not
felt it
helping
was-
him out at all.
Well, she probably felt it was an insult that she had to do it. The thing that I don't get about that particular thing is why would you get an American journalist if that is an issue of contention, right? Like,
I think
It
I don't
only
know.
makes you look worse.
I don't
well,
know.
yeah, you invite somebody who that's not their culture, and then you say you have to do this.
I don't
you
know where this interview was taking place.
Yeah, I'm not sure how
That
it
might be
came to be. It depends
But-
on how it came to be and who asked for it or who wanted
This
it.
whole rule with dress code and how women are supposed to be with you're not allowed to cut your hair, you have to hide yourself. Complete bullshit.
It is kind of a weird system to go about. I believe it kind of stems from in the places where they have to wear the entire sheet. I don't know what that is called because I know the hijab is just kind of like a headscarf,
Burqa.
a burqa. Okay,
Burqa,
yeah.
yeah.
So a burqa where you just have the eye slit. I believe now. Don't quote me on this, but it's because they don't want other men to see their women. It's kind of like.
Yeah,
It's almost kind of a form of adultery for them where you have them completely covered and that
Yeah,
it's,
so nobody can know.
yeah, they can't and it's like a very extreme high socially acceptable form of jealousy in terms of where
Yeah.
nobody can see your wife, that your wife has to be 5 feet behind you. That might be Saudi Arabia. I don't know about Iran, but at least in Saudi Arabia, yeah, you have to. It's more that way because you have to walk 5 feet behind your man. You can't be outside the house without your
Yeah, you have to have a
brother,
male chaperone.
your brother,
Really?
or your father,
Yeah.
or your husband.
Yeah, somebody in the family.
Yeah.
Somebody has to chaperone any woman that's out
Yeah.
doing whatever. She could just be going to get milk from the store or whatever, but she has to have a guy with her.
In what world do any men have the audacity to say make rules for women on stuff like that to control them that much in this world?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's pretty overboard. I did hear that the rule that you said about walking 5 feet behind. I had a teacher in high school once. He said, like, he did quite a bit of traveling, and he said he did go. I can't remember if it was Saudi Arabia or Iran, but it was one of those countries, one of the Middle Eastern countries. And he did say, yeah, he saw that the women had to walk behind their husbands, da 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 da. And he went back there several years later, and he noticed that the women were walking in front of all the men.
Oh.
And he just asked, like, why was this a change? And the woman just said, landmines.
Oh,
Really?
Yes,
shit.
that's
Yeah, then they'll change.
that's pretty fucked up, right?
Holy fuck.
Like, they're like, okay, well, now you're my landmine detector? And one, it's fucked up. That
Well, yeah,
wherever
'cause
you're
you can
walking, there might be a landmine. Two, you're using your wife as fucking...
That's fucked.
Like,
Because
that's
the
super
next,
fucked.
the next week you can just go make a deal and get another one.
Well, yeah, they do have a
But it's
lot of
bunch
that going on as
right?
well.
You know, that's their mentality. And realistically, the mentality there is medieval
Yeah, when it comes to shit like
thought
that, for sure.
process combining
Well, it's
with
ownership.
modernity.
It's not, your wife isn't your partner. She's property.
Yeah.
And
That's so
that's
fucked.
why you can have several of them, and it's not a big deal. It's like cattle at a farm and stuff like that. It's just
That's so fucked.
It is very fucked. But the fact that these protests are starting, are we going to see a shift in that? Do you guys think that this is going to be kind of like an Egypt thing, like when Egypt did that thing to get what's his head out, Gaddafi? You know how that all came to be because of social media. Do you think this is actually going to change anything, or is it just kind of the women trying and they're going to be squashed?
I think it depends on how powerful the government can actually be. I saw videos on Instagram Reels where if you are living in Iran, they're trying to clear the streets up from the protests so much to the fact that if you look out your window, there's a video of where a woman looked out the window to see somebody and saw police on the streets.
Yeah.
And they spotted her looking out the window, and then she just like hid back behind the curtains, and her windows got shot out.
Jesus. Well, yeah, they're not afraid to, like, I know in a lot of those countries, if you steal, you get your hand chopped off. Like, so they're not afraid to hurt people.
Yeah.
But I think there's only, like, I think if history teaches us anything, is that fear, while it can be a very useful tool, fear and oppression, it never lasts forever. The only thing that really kind of is a sticking thing is like love and respect. If they love or respect their leader, they'll fight for them. They'll try and follow them. Like, yeah, I'm not saying every leader who is loved and respected is a good one. I'm just saying that that's a much more effective thing than just constant, because eventually you're going to get people who are just like, fuck it. Like, I don't care if I die. I have to say something.
They are all in so much power hungry that they have to flex power in manipulative and physical ways to not have to face consequences.
Yeah.
Because they are absolutely terrified of consequences. It is exactly what's happening in Iran. The government is terrified of the consequences of what they did. And now they're having a backlash, so they have to try and flex on everybody.
Yeah, they're doubling
Crowd
down.
control.
Yep.
They're doubling down,
But
saying,
it's
well,
okay
we'll kill
for
you
the-
for anything.
Yeah,
now.
we'll kill you for anything, but if you do anything to us, you're getting thrown in jail for anything.
Well, but see, that's what I'm saying is fear, even though, like I said, it's not like it doesn't work. We've seen many regimes rule through fear for a long, long time. But once the people get to a point where, it's kind of like a beaten dog. If you hit them enough, they're eventually going to bite you.
They won't care how
even
much
if they're scared of you and they're fucking
They'll
terrified.
get hit, but guess what?
They will have to do it. It's just a natural instinct. And
And
I think people are the same way. That once you finally are like, fuck it, I can't be, even though I am scared, I can no longer abide this. And now you see, like you said, 100 cities, people burning hijabs and this and that and the other thing. Like, I think once the people finally realize, I can't be scared anymore, or else this is never going to change. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more people get to that place, and I'm just wondering.
And there hasn't been a catalyst before either, like this.
Well, yeah.
That has galvanized enough people, because a lot of people can think that way, but it's like you look around, everyone's doing the same thing. Oh, I can't be the one that stands out. And
Yeah.
But guess what? Now that once a whole bunch of people are pissed, it's like, well, maybe that rifle, I guess it's going to dust it off here a little bit.
Well, yeah.
You know?
No, but Trudeau's trying to take those away from us, so we can't.
Well, he's probably trying to send them to the Iranians.
Oh, he's not taking
He's trying.
mine.
No, he sent them to Ukraine.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, they need him too.
Well, he won't take mine, so.
So, what are
You're selfish.
what are your predictions for the next year? And
About how the world's going to go to shit?
okay, let's start off with your Putin prediction.
Putin prediction. I think Putin's, like I said, he's got enough power and he's got enough clout, and I think he's kind of brainwashed himself enough to believe a lot of the nonsense he spent. I think he's going to go further than he has already gone. I don't know if we're talking World War III kicked off. I definitely think that he's planning for it. I'm not saying he's going to start it, but he's got it, at least a contingency. All right, if shit really kicks off, who are we going to have backing us? I would think.
Now,
what about you?
Now, when you say, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
When you say World War III, do you think World War III or do you think Cold War?
I don't think Cold War. I think the Cold War's been going even after the Cold War ended. Like, I think tensions have always been high. And yes, when the USSR dissolved and they lost a lot of power because their fucking economy collapsed, it certainly kind of seemed like America had won. But again, I think that has always been a really sore spot for Russia because they were, it was America and Russia. They were the two superpowers. And then Russia kind of fell off the map. I think the Russian people, as we've talked about before, they are very proud of to be Russian. They love their country. I think that they kind of want that win back. They want a rematch. So I think it's been going on. It wasn't really as high tension as it has been because now they don't have, they didn't have the nukes and the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that shit. So I think now that they're starting to gain power, they're starting to do it. And the fact that they invaded Ukraine, it's kind of no longer a Cold War, right? They might not be attacking the States yet.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely in their sights.
And
maybe not in the next year, but we're talking down the road.
And Gunnar,
my prediction is pretty much on line with Sunshine's there because everything that's happening now, I have my reasons or my thought process to why it's happening. We have weak leadership in both south of our border and in our area because you have two soy boys there, one who can't really pronounce full sentences and one who jumps around at every
one that's singing at the Queen's funeral.
At the Queen's funeral.
He doesn't.
He was just mad he was taken off the list.
And that's why I agree with Sunshine here is because that what does that translate to you as a world authoritarian leadership and all these other places in China, North Korea, Pakistan, and even Russia. When you look at those leadership. What do you think?
They're a lot stronger than ours.
Do you think, we're going to hold back, or do you think this is the time? This is our time.
We got an old man and a guy singing Queen.
Okay, let's go. Your prediction between China and Taiwan.
Oh, I would say China. I mean,
you think they're going to invade Taiwan?
I think China is very they're still a communist country, one of the very few still kicking it, and very successful.
Apparently, they want Taiwan, that little island, back so bad.
They've wanted that for a long time. I think, like I said, with China, what they've been doing is they've always kind of stayed under the radar. Like Russia was always kind of upfront about their hatred of the West and this and that. And even places like Iran and Saudi Arabia, very, very high anti-Western, kind of feels. China has that, but it's never really kind of, planted the flag on that hill saying, yeah, we hate the West and we want them all to burn. But there's always kind of been that underlying tension. I think that China, when they kind of said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make everything, we're going to gather all the and we're back.
Yeah, again, editing.
Okay. We just had to deal with some China hacking.
Yeah, they hacked my camera here.
Yeah, they don't want us to talk bad about
we would like to now retract every bad thing we said about China.
Yeah. I believe in the emperor.
I believe in Winnie the Pooh.
But yeah, Taiwan and China.
Okay, so like I was saying, China has always kind of had that dislike for the Western world, but has never really kind of been overtly fucking saying how much they like it. They've been garnering their wealth. They've been doing it more about building. So I think China, if World War III kicks off, China will certainly be a military factor, but I think they're going to be more like the banker, the guy funding the efforts of whoever they team up with. I think that's their real threat. They will certainly have a military, and it's no joke. It's a serious one. But I think they'll play it smart where they're going to be the guy kind of pulling the strings and everybody else fighting for them. And they're just going to focus on keeping China safe at the event that maybe, if World War III doesn't go the way that they hope, they're still protected and in their own little bubble.
But there's a lot of pre-war things they have to go on doing right now. Like Russia has to cut off European gas once the first cold snap starts here. And there's a lot of things that they can do that will prep for a better victory or at least a smoother going war before that happens.
Yes, exactly.
Now, your prediction for China-Taiwan.
For China-Taiwan, well, I know that they might probably invade somewhere between now and 2049 or 2050 because that's going to be the anniversary of their whole show there. But
Like the dynasty?
yeah, like I think their whole dynasty. But I think as they sit tonight right now, I mean, the only way these things are played because they see such weakness, I think it's going to happen within the next year and a half, 2 years.
Really?
And
Be an interesting way to go.
And not only that, but I'll also go one step further is that Russia may end up using a battlefield tactical nuclear weapon, a singular one, in order to test and see what happens and see if they will react to that. Because if you don't react to
when you're swiveling there, your voice is coming in and out of the microphone.
oh, sorry, yeah, but yeah, if they do that, that's going to be something that they'll do to test a small scale nuclear weapon on a battlefield and see how people react, and then it'll be similar to World War II when Germans kept invading, and then they kept doing nothing. They might still try and see if they'll do anything about it. Mm-hmm. That's to test them.
I'm gonna go completely off the grid with my prediction.
Okay.
Putin's gonna get offed.
You think Putin's going to get taken out?
Yeah.
By who?
One of his own guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see that one happening. I mean, Putin has really got like an iron grip. Like, he's not only the leader of the country, he is also the leader of the mob. Like, he's the oligarch.
I think somebody of his own is going to take him out.
Really?
That's my prediction.
I mean, you might be right. I don't know a ton about the guy, but I can't see that happening.
Past it. I won't put anything past what's going on here right now. So.
Do you think? Okay,
And
so with
right
that
now,
prediction,
I think the whole China-Taiwan thing will probably cool off after Putin gets taken out.
okay,
Because right now, the Prime Minister of China is in house arrest or whatever like that. So he's not. And I think all inbound and outbound flights are canceled from China right now, or temporarily was.
Oh.
And is that China or Russia or both? I can't remember. I think it's both.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about it. Okay, but I want to ask you, your prediction about Putin being taken out by one of his guys, are you thinking they're going to take him out because they want to take his spot, or because they can't agree with where he's going?
Moral reasons.
Oh, moral reasons. Okay, so you think somebody's going to go, okay, he's lost his shit.
Yeah.
I think it's time to get rid of this. Okay.
That's my... man,
That's your
we're
prediction.
all humans on a big planet. Like, we're not going to get... This planet is not going to survive forever. Once the sun burns out, we need to... If we want to survive as
Elon
a
Musk,
species...
space.
Yeah, we need to figure
fuck
out how
outta
to
here.
live somewhere else in the fucking...
Elon Musk will do it for us.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
do you think by the time the sun burns out, if we can get the Pluto, the fact that it's a ball of ice, it'll just kind of even it out and become the new Earth?
Well, then there'd
Like,
be
it's
no
really
sun.
hot.
We'd need another solar system.
No, but I'm talking like the residue. It just warms it up enough when it blows up that we can just kind of like get in there. All the water's melted, ready to drink.
Fuck the residue of it.
I mean, I'm no scientist, but it sounds logical.
Yeah.
But, yeah...
Call Elon Musk and put it on all of Sunshine's whole
You're like, hey man,
solar
melt down
residue.
Pluto so we can have something to drink.
And as we're talking about Musk...
Or you were saying,
Kudos to him for turning Starlink on in
yeah,
Iran.
and I read what you were saying, yeah.
Iranian government turned off the internet for because of the protests and everything like that. They cut
Turn it back up.
Yeah.
and then
Elon Musk just said, "Fuck you."
He got permission to turn Starlink on in Iran, and everybody has internet there.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of talking about this when we were out there. Like, okay, with all these power hungry people in the world today who are kind of leading us all down this path of the world's going fucking nuts. They don't seem to care as long as it's making the money. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there, but Elon Musk, as far as billionaires, tech billionaires go, I'd say he's probably like the least evil, because he actually seems to do things like you said, like this Starlink thing. Just, he doesn't have to. I'm sure it didn't like get him a ton of money, but he just did it because he thought it would help out. He seems like a guy, a very rare guy that
give
has
the
that kind of
voice.
money who says, I want to do something good. I'm not saying he's a saint, but
do you think Elon Musk is in it for the money, or do you think he's in it for the ability to just keep going with his research and his studies?
I would probably say it's more that he wants to keep going. And the money definitely helps, obviously, and the stuff he's doing brings him a ton
There's
of
only
cash.
one way
Yeah.
you can do that. And,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because have you ever, on any Elon Musk interviews, like you talk to the world's most successful people, you listen to Warren Buffett interviews, you listen to Jeffrey Bezos interviews, and they're all talking about how to make more money.
Elon doesn't talk like that.
Have you ever heard Elon Musk talk about making more money?
No, not really.
Whatever
He's
he does,
more
just
about-
does it, and then he
talks about
his ideas.
He talks about funding to get an idea of his going.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, well, we can make most gains like this. It's no, I just want to get funding to get my ideas going to try and help the planet. Like
Because I haven't seen Amazon drones dropping Starlink packages down in Ukraine at all, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No.
I've always heard about Elon Musk, buying up things like, you know what? These idiots on the left have too much to say about stupid shit, so I'm going to buy it up. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, Ukraine needs help. I'm going to do this. Let him do that. I'm going to do it, is what he said. I mean.
He seems like one of the most proactive in order of just making shit happen.
Yeah, he'll make it.
And it's not about, like you said, it's not about the bottom line of making money. It's about making something happen.
It's that poster with him smoking weed, and I think that perfectly embodies him because he's like, fuck it, we're going to make it happen, whatever it is.
He knew Tesla was going to drop like fucking crazy because of that.
We'll put shit in
like,
space.
whatever, fuck, I'll be fine. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, he actually has ties to Saskatchewan as well.
Yeah, weren't we talking about this just a little while ago?
His mom used to live here in Regina. And I think he actually spent a year on a farm with his family in Herbert, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
So
a Tesla farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They grew Teslas there. No. They just come out of the ground, right?
And then I think he. I can't remember what else. I did read up on him about, but yeah, he has ties here to Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So yeah, if you're ever interested, Elon, you want to come shoot the shit and show us some cool shit.
Yeah, if you want to up Tesla's stock, you can come here and not smoke weed. We will not force you like Joe Rogan. All right, so. But I mean, if you want to come smoke a blunt,
man
you
will
can do that
smoke
too.
a blunt with you.
I will. Right? Fuck yeah. What's up, buddy? Let's make some Tesla stock happen. Give me a free car.
I think we have some cobalt deposits around here someplace.
Deposits, yeah.
Man, that guy would be cool to just talk to for an hour.
He would, yeah.
But I know he's not very adamant on giving his time up because his time is always.
Oh yeah. Well, the guy's a billionaire for a reason, and I mean, I don't think he's the billionaire, but like he's got to be top 10.
Yeah,
I think
he'll have time to talk to three guys in Saskatchewan. I think.
Well, who's the top guy? Jeff?
I think he was
Bezos.
I think last year he
was
I think he was number one last year.
Yeah,
Elon, and then.
Oh, I just don't know. I don't really follow it that much, but I know he's definitely he's got fuck you money, right? Like just. Yeah. Doesn't matter what happens to him, he'll be okay. Which is like why I said when he did smoke that joint on the Rogan show. I mean, that's a huge podcast. A lot of people are going to see. Of course, the business end is going to, oh my God, he's on drugs. And he's just like, I'll be fine. It might hurt my stock for a little bit, but I'll be fine. Like, he wasn't worried about the bottom end, whereas I'm sure Bezos would have been like, no thanks, Joe.
Well, he's the only one with, his ideas are so far out there.
Yeah.
But they have to be,
This will affect my calculations. Jeff Bezos.
And then all the conspiracies, he's part alien and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, sometimes you kind of have to wonder. The guy's a little weird.
Resistance will not be tolerated.
Like when he named his kid,
that's,
whatever.
What's his name from Facebook there? That Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg, the Zuck.
That guy, I swear, is half alien.
Oh, God. I actually was just watching this documentary about the whole Facebook and Google and kind of how much power they have in tech company. And you see a lot of interviews with Zuckerberg when he was a kid in college.
He's just sweating.
Well, no, he looks like a normal human being. He looks like a regular dude. And then they kind of progression through when he went to the Senate hearings and stuff, and he's got that fucking hairline bowl cut thing, and he's fucking sitting up robot style and shit. You're just did something happen? He had to have some experimental surgery to fucking flip that.
I think it's like that movie They Live. He may not be an alien, but he's under the influence.
It's something like that, man.
Those
He's trying to be the first AI.
That Obey shit, wear the sunglasses to see what they all look like.
He's a Russian bot.
AI Russian bot.
Yeah.
I think he spent too much time in the metaverse.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That guy's... Well, I've heard this metaverse, there's supposed to be some kind of 3D virtual reality aspect.
It's an entire world.
Is it?
It's a whole 3D world.
Really?
You wear
how do you get in on that? How do you get to walk around in it?
You get a pair of
the Oculus thing or whatever.
3D
the Meta Oculus Quest 2.
A VR setup. VR virtual reality.
But I'm asking, is it just a social media thing, or is it a video game, or
it's a social media thing where you basically
3D.
in 3D.
It's a VR thing.
This is how much I know about tech.
You can have an entire life on the metaverse. You can basically have a mansion and you walk around in it with your VR headset. You have everything. You can do whatever you want, and everything's in virtual reality.
Okay. So, well, let's ask you. Say Zuckerberg fucking pulled you out of a lottery or something like that, and he said, "Look, man, I'll give you the life you want in the metaverse. I'll give you everything. Like you said, a mansion, cars, women, money, all the things you want. But you have to stay in the metaverse or live in the real world. Just deal with your shit.
Living in the real world.
Would you? Okay.
Real world, yeah.
Fucking chance.
I don't know. That'd be a hard one for me. When I saw The Matrix, I was like, plug me in, motherfucker. I want to jump across rooftops. Like, that sounds like fucking deadly shit.
As it sits, it's a headset, and then once you find out that you have no body input other than this headset,
that's
then
true.
you'll realize that
If they could
the
make
real world's a lot better.
If they could actually stream it into your brain and make
Especially
it
when you look down, you're like, okay, that's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to upgrade that thing.
Unless they stream me into a metaverse that says, oh, Justin Trudeau is not the prime minister, then maybe I'll think about it.
What about a metaverse where you can just fucking rule the government?
No,
Your own personal little world.
I don't want that.
No, because I'm a, what you call a, what are those people? A Libra.
Crazy?
No.
Did you say liberal?
No,
You're
not
a liberal?
What?
I thought I was the only one.
libertarian.
A libertarian.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's what
Libertarian.
I'm saying.
I would say I'm closer to a libertarian than a liberal. Yeah.
That's what I think. That openly gay person walking down the street smoking weed with a concealed carry license. That's what I think is freedom.
Fuck yeah.
That is freedom.
Do it. That is.
I think
everybody
here
would
in
agree
Canada, though, we do have probably the biggest freedom of the entire world.
I
And
would say, yeah, we definitely, as much as we complain, we've got a pretty good setup.
the whole assisted suicide thing
Yeah.
is the biggest freedom in the entire fucking world. Nobody gets to tell you when you check out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's processes you have to go with, like mental health processes and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I'm on a waiting list right now.
But
I'm just tired of going to work, man.
Yeah.
That's
They keep
probably
saying
one of-
it's not a reason and shit.
I mean, it's not that I'm promoting it, but I'm just saying that's pretty much the biggest freedom.
I would agree with you. That's a huge
entire
freedom.
fucking
And I
world.
think, and I mean, I'm not an advocate for it, but I also believe there are certain cases where it does make sense, So I would 100% agree with you. That is a huge freedom, and the fact that you at least have the option here, it is kind of like a big deal. Because I'm pretty sure that's very
There's
faux pas.
There is no other place.
Everywhere else in the world.
There is no other place.
That's not true. Iran will help you. We
just have to
just went over
defy
this.
their
They
law.
will help you die.
Yeah.
All you got to do is say, "I disagree."
Just gotta roll your wheelchair out in the middle of the thing, take off your headscarf, and then they'll.
Yeah, be that openly gay person with a concealed carry in the middle of town. And poof,
That's not-
assisted suicide.
It's not medically assisted.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's not a doctor.
Yeah.
More a
But no,
sergeant or something.
it's a fucking weird world, man. And my generation of this life, I didn't think I'd see this much going on. And I can see a lot of people like just completely stressed out about this.
It's Well,
It
like
can
I
be-
said, this kid with a gun at a school. Like, I know nothing happened, but like I said, I've seen so many stories about it, heard about it in the States. It just literally became like white noise to me. And then it's in my city, in a school that I know where it is. That's, I mean, really scary if you think about it. Like, think if you woke up tomorrow and there was, God forbid, I'm not advocating this obviously, but like some mass shooting in town. Would that not be fucking terrifying?
Oh, there was a mass stabbing.
Oh,
like,
fuck.
just
Well, yeah, exactly,
downtown.
right? But that's what I mean. Like, even that, yes, that's terrible, but like a mass shooting is kind of on another level. Like, obviously, this whole mass stabbing thing was fucking terrifying, but it was also not in Regina.
Is it really
You know what I mean? It
different
was-
level? It's still a mass killing.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's just
a
with a
gun,
different weapon.
a gun is much more powerful than a knife, right? And I'm not.
Depends who's behind it.
Well,
he killed
Chuck
11
Norris,
people.
maybe. Well, he did, yes, but I'm just saying, like, mass shootings. Like, look at the guy in fucking Vegas. How many people he kill?
Which one?
Well, the guy from the fucking MGM Grand from the
Oh,
window,
yeah. Yep.
Jason Aldean concert or whatever. Like, that's like, yes, I'm not trying to downplay the stabbing. Like, that is
Yeah.
obviously awful, and a lot of people died, and it's a horrible thing. But a mass shooting, and especially at a school, like if it was kids and shit, that would really be fucking.
I don't know what drives
Extra
people.
terrible.
What drives people to do that
Well, I think it's
in the first place? Like,
a lot
I
of the
don't know,
things
man.
we've been talking about.
We should just go kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just kids. It's like, no, get fucked. Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, there's one thing I always hear toted amongst politics down there and up here is like, what's our most precious resource? Is our children. That's our most precious.
I was like uranium.
We'll need it for Putin. But yeah, they say our most precious resource is children. But yeah, whenever I look at a
China
school,
has a similar
whenever
policy.
I look at school, I don't see any veterans hired as security. But I'll tell you one thing: I see people with level 2 vests and armed guards outside of banks protecting big.
Yeah.
clubs
Did
of
you know
gold.
that in was it New Brunswick or Nova Scotia? They have off-duty armed police officers in the grocery stores right now.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Because so that people can't make a run on grocery prices that are going up through
No,
skyrocket.
it's that's how sad the world is coming to. That
That
there
is
has to
what's
be-
worth protecting, not kids. Because
Yeah,
what
not-
value do they have? They don't upgrade your
They
your
eat
bank
groceries
account.
too.
Yeah,
Like when people say it's like, oh, well, there's what could we have done? And it's like, well,
but you know who's hiring these people?
who?
The big grocery store chains.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not the government that are hiring these people.
Well, no, of course they
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing that.
And I mean,
the
yeah,
government
like-
has their own stockpiles guarded very well.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, no one's going to go out of the way and do that for a school.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Well, and I mean, it like here, I can understand in Canada because, like I said, we haven't really had that thing, kind of be a massive problem. But in the States, it makes no sense why they have school shooter drills in classrooms now and shit
Yeah.
like that. It's like, okay, why are you, paying some fucking 19-year-old who plays Call of Duty on the weekends to stand outside and be a security guard? Why don't you actually get somebody there who, like, because what was it? The last big one that happened, some off-duty cop. They wouldn't go into the school. They were scared of the shoot, and some off-duty cop went in. Poof, done.
Oh, that was
over.
that last one in the States.
Yeah. And
There's
and-
even ones who wouldn't let people go back in.
no, they showed like fucking cops sitting around watching YouTube videos while the active shooter was in the school. Like they were like, "Oh, we can't go in; it's a risk." And then some guy just said, "Fuck this, my kid's in there."
Yeah.
Went in, shot the guy, and he's like, "Done." Like there's your fucking.
I think
there's what happened.
I think the police chief is getting.
Oh, they got in a
in
lot
big-
of shit
big
for that. It was a
lawsuit for that right
massive
now.
fucking fumble.
When a person has a job, like I have a job where there's bears, there's risk of rock fall, and is like, you know what, I accept that risk, and
Yeah.
he's like, Stefan, this is what happened. He's like, okay, I'm gonna walk up there to put that stick over there, and that's a risk I accept. I'm not gonna, I won't go up there because I goddamn go up there.
Yeah.
But and if you said it's like, well, what's the reason that you strap this vest on?
Yeah.
Is it because that
'Cause
you're
it looks
stopping
cool?
people who might shoot other people?
Exactly.
Is that
Is it?
You can't call yourself a police officer and then say, "Oh, I'm not going to go in there because
Yeah,
there's too
it's
much
a-
risk."
it's too much
It's like
risk.
no,
That's the whole
what
reason
is-
you're
what's
a
the
cop.
reason why you're here is happening now.
Yes.
Where are your morals at even at that point? Not even being a police officer.
Yeah.
You give me a fucking handgun and I will go in there. I'll find a guy and
Yeah,
I'll off
man.
him.
I don't even have kids, but if I have nieces and nephews, and I can look at the school and it's like, and that's the thing. I've grown up around firearms and things like that, and then I guess nobody can really say what they're going to do when it happens there. I can only say what I feel like I would do. If there's somebody in there killing kids, you know what?
Yeah,
fuck
man.
him and fuck that guy.
Might as
Yeah,
well take the chance.
I'm gonna go after that guy, man.
I mean, yeah, like
It's a fucked up thing.
but
to do.
I think us Canadians are a little bit different breed. Than
well, we'll hold the door
south.
for you one day and
Shoot you
and-
down.
and then fix bayonets the next.
You'll-
Well, me just as a person, I think there's a hard line in killing kids. It's just something you shouldn't do.
No.
You know, but
yeah.
that's just how I was raised.
I know,
Yeah,
I
you know,
I mean,
that's
my parents drilled that into me right after. Look both ways before you cross the street.
Yeah, if
and
I-
don't
Both
kill
ways,
kids.
don't kill children. Kind of.
If Iran wants real morality police,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, exactly. And I think a lot of it is the disconnect that we're all getting from each other because of social media. Like it's something meant to bring us together, but it kind of segregates everybody.
is it social media that's dividing things?
I'm not saying it's
or
the
is
only
it-
thing. I think that our society is becoming, even though we post pictures online to connect with people, like think about your Facebook page. How many of your friends do you actually know? Like I have
Almost all of
thousands
them.
on my fucking page, and I don't know any of them mostly. Like I know some of them, obviously, but
I know almost all of mine.
really?
Yeah.
Well, how many you got on there? 5?
500.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's a lot of people.
That doesn't mean I'm friends with them.
I
all.
just mean,
just-
well, that's
I
what
know
I'm
them.
saying. Maybe you know them, but like, how many do you actually consider your friends, right? And it's kind of the illusion of connection. Like,
Yeah.
like even just like say people who argue on Facebook or fucking YouTube or whatever, they say horrible, horrible shit to each other. You wouldn't say that to somebody face to face.
Oh yeah,
You know, it's
Especially
that
if you don't know them.
disconnect. Well, exactly, right?
Me,
There's
if
that
me,
disconnect.
and you are friends. We can sit here and we can banter each
yeah, I
other
can call
across
you
the
a dick
table
all the time
all
and shit.
fucking day.
Yeah.
But
But if I did that to a stranger,
man,
you're a bitch for thinking that.
oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna write a comment real soon about that motherfucker.
Keep in mind, I am sitting 2 feet
So-
away from this man.
Yes.
He has done nothing yet.
what's your message of the day after
My message of the day
after today's podcast?
Well, I think the big thing was don't shoot children.
Well,
We've kind of
I
circled
think
back
that's
to that
a
again.
solid- Yep.
That's kind of a given. But
I just wish that we could kind of, I don't know, get society back to, there has to be a certain level of personal accountability. This being able to blame everything on something. It's that fucking sin of spin.
Lack of
it's
accountability,
really
yeah.
kind of.
because nobody wants to blame yourself or take
Well, exactly.
the blame for
Like,
anything.
you know, and I'm not saying that the arguments are completely stupid because, yes, you know, say somebody has a rough upbringing, they're going to have some rough things in life. It is what it is. But we just keep pushing that line further and further. Like, oh, this kid, you know, who shot up a school, well, he played violent video games, so it's the video game manufacturers that are at fault. Like, no.
2-year minimum
This
on
guy
either the
did
trades
this
or the
on-
military.
Yeah.
And then if you do that, guess what? You'll have the gift of being called a bitch and no good, and then you'll have that great gift of life that someone like a tradesman or
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
drill instructor will give you. He'll tell you how much exactly you're worth, and then afterwards he can tell you how much you can be. And then guess what? You're going to turn into a pretty good human being, a citizen, contributing member of society.
Yeah.
I think.
No. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Character
that-
building.
you?
Is
There's
that-
no
Is
character
that
anymore.
experience talking there?
That is experience, yeah. You get called a bitch, you're told why you're no good, you're a piece of shit.
It strengthens
Guess
you.
what? But I'll show you how to not be, all right?
What's that over sanitization of things? Like even just what was it recently? They made that big push to stop bullying. Like this is again, it's the illusion of giving a shit. You will never stop people from bullying people. You can't do it. Because I mean, even in class when the teacher gives the guy shit, he's just going to do it when the teacher's not looking.
The world is fucking doing it. Russia's doing it to Ukraine.
That's what
right
I'm
now.
saying. You're better to try and make these kids able to deal with being bullied
Yeah.
and still not be a piece of shit on the other end. I think that's where you should focus on. And I think that's what I'm saying about the whole disconnect. We focus on the wrong things, thinking this is what's going to happen. And I know it's not somebody trying to be evil and fuck everybody up. They're just focusing on the wrong cause of the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and not really strengthening people. It's all about trying to protect them.
Yeah,
protect them.
we've not developed our society and our young people to a point where like I'm not even sure what the status of the Beavers or the Scouts are or whatever the hell. I'm not even sure what their status is anymore.
Well, wasn't there a big thing about how now it's no longer the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, it's just the Scouts? Because that was a real problem, apparently.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a thing or not, and,
was
and
a
I
thing.
wouldn't put it past him. But
Yeah.
but that's the thing is, that was completing a task, accountability,
Yeah.
like being
Well,
able
and
to
even
feel
just
good
learning
about the
skills,
task that
of
you can,
how,
yeah,
to, how to start a
skills.
fire, how to fucking hunt,
Yeah,
and
yeah, you
forage.
can,
Yeah.
you
Good
can,
things to know.
you can stuff you can be proud of yourself for, and
Yeah.
but now it's everyone's fat, sad, and depressed,
Skip
and
the dishes is too
and
easy.
then
Yeah.
I think Janie and Klaus said something, so I'm gonna grab Daddy's rifle and do something about it.
Yeah.
and I think that's basically where we're at.
Well, yeah. Well, and
The,
it's like you said, it's that power thing. Like
Yeah.
when you're a person who doesn't have a lot of power, what's an easy way to do it?
Because you're
Get a gun.
weak. A strong person, Taekwondo or Krav Maga and things like that. You have power, but that's like this is something that I should keep held back because I know I could. Like you have power, and so you respect it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's where weak people. Once those weak people have come into power, whether it's a position of power,
Mm-hmm.
like we see here in our country. No difference than when you go to school and then the 1 ounce of power that they found is a 38 special in their dad's closet, and we're like, oh fuck, some power, and I can show those people, right?
Everybody's got-
That's what they latch onto because nothing else in their life is good. It's all weakness and this depression and this and that. They have no skills or anything like that, and then they latch onto that ounce of power and then they use it to their fullest capability.
Yeah, there's for me, I think the world is fucked right now.
It is.
Putin and Russia and Ukraine, you guys just need to drink some vodka and chill the fuck out and just business as usual and carry on. maybe you can be adults and agree on something instead of saying "fuck you on my way," I want my way. Fuck you on I want my way. It's called being an adult. Oh, I'm gonna bomb you and kill everybody. That's not being an adult. No. There's a difference there.
It's a subtle difference, but I mean,
China,
you can see it.
You need to chill the fuck out. Iran, your fucking president's a piece of shit.
All right, we're just declaring a whole bunch of fucking people terrible.
Yeah. Come at me, I dare you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I do not support his statement, China. I'm just kidding.
I don't care.
No, I do. It is what it is. I mean, we're like, trust me. What, 5 people watch this thing? I don't think anybody in China really watches that.
I am so insignificant that I don't have as much to lose as a lot of other people out there.
Well, and I think...
come at me.
Yeah, come at me, China.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. Well, I think we can end on the high note here and just saying the world's fucked and we're all going to die. So thanks you guys for watching episode 19. Thank you, Stefan, for fucking being a surprise guest. It was a great surprise.
The darkest episode.
The darkest episode, yeah. They do get dark, but this one got pretty.
I got an idea for a podcast. Let's talk about the world. Who's a good guest? Gunner,
yeah. All right, well, we hope you guys enjoyed the show, and thanks for coming to get wrecked with us.
Cheers. And crabs.
And scene. Crabs.
Crabs.